So good day, and welcome to Talk Your Talk once more. It's always a pleasure being here. Well, anyway, what I'm gonna talk about, I hope it wouldn't take a whole long time to do, is relationships. And why is it that relationships don't last? What could you do? What is the criteria for having a long lasting relationship? Um, Speaking about a relationship with love and everything else that contributes to a wonderful relationship. Now, first of all, I want to say two things. First, it's a negative and it's also a positive. First of all, I, uh, I used to know two people who I met in Trinidad. Old guys, old folks, about they were in their 60s, those times, and then that is the husband and the wife, and then two people I know here who were in their 70s, still in their 70s, good and 80s. Anyway, the thing about it, in Trinidad, I met these two people, and this guy, we were talking, based on where I was working. I met him, and he told me that he and his wife were together for over 40 something years, he told me, and they never actually quarreled. I find that was kind of strange, but after I get to realize that things like that do happen, right? Now, the other thing is here. Now, I know some people, and then we are good friends and everything, we talk a lot, and the lady is like 70s, maybe 78 now, and the man maybe about 80. But when they were around 70, when she was around 72, I think the man was around maybe around 76, whatever, anyway. Somewhere around that. But they both were in their 70s, above 70. And they divorced. After having a marriage that maybe span over 40 years. They divorced in the time when they're supposed to be just chilling and stuff like that. They just like divorced. They had to split their property and stuff like that, and that is a kind of mess, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, that is two lessons on both sides. One appears to be negative, the other one appears to be positive. Now, let's deal with the first one that had a relationship briefly. He and his wife actually loved each other. They loved each other, and they never quarreled because anything that happened in their relationship, they find a way to work it out. They could just talk about it like normal and then go to bed happy. You see? They don't let the sun go down on their anger. You understand? If they're angry or they disagree on something, you don't have to breed anger. It just breeds a disagreement, but they could work it out, and they could go to bed happy. On the other hand, somebody that is that divorced their husband at 72, after having adult children and grandchildren and even great grandchildren. But then at this age now, you realize that the husband, he not running around behind anybody, he just there. But then he get divorced. She divorced him. Then that tells me that, and after research I find it to be true, there is a lot of hatred and resentment that was in that relationship for years and years and years and years. And then when you reach that point in their life, it just, when the divorce court, you know. But then I'm going to I ask myself, well, why is it that it would happen? Because the thing about it is that if you've seen two old people like that getting divorced, then what hope it have for us who maybe most of our people, a lot of people say, I've been in a relationship for 10 years now, that means they're song solid. But when somebody in a relationship for over 40, good and 50 years, and they're getting divorced, 10 years in a relationship to most young people, that is joke. Because you could feel insecure all the way through your relationship because people divorcing when they reach time when they're retiring. Excuse. So what that tells us. So what causes that? The question is how you make your bed you does like. So if you meet a woman meet you, or both of you all meet each other and you all get yourself in a relationship, there are certain things you should ask yourself, whether you love that person or not. But then even if you ask yourself whether you love that person or not, you have to know whether what you're feeling is love, or whether you know what is love or not. Because most people will say they love somebody and they don't really love the person. Most people go at somebody the way they go at a job, any kind of job, because they just want money, they want the benefit from that job, not because they love the job. And most people approach women and go at women in the same light, the same way. It's not like they love the woman. They don't have this kind of love. It's just what they feel they could get from the woman in terms of physical stuff. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about being able to use the woman sexually and stuff like that. Because if you go to have sex with a woman and you don't love her, that is equivalent to using the woman. You see? So that's what I'm saying. So then if you go to a woman and then you don't love her, you understand, then you're actually using the person and you're putting that person at a risk. Especially psychologically, in a big way. And I could definitely see that is not fair. But then, if you see the woman and you find that, okay, you love this woman, you know to yourself you love this woman, you know you would like to be with this woman, what you should find out before you do anything foolish or selfishly is to find out if the woman feels the same way about you. And try not to influence her to feel that way about you. Let she do it on her own accord. Because you see, if you try to influence her, you try to manipulate her, what you're actually doing, you're doing witchcraft. And doing witchcraft to attain things doesn't really end up so good. So she have to be mature in her mind, and she have to know whether she love you or not. And if you discover that both of you love each other, right, in the true sense of the word, you all actually love each other, what you realize happens, your life will change. Because you guys will be so eager to love each other. You understand? So eager to look out for your own well-being. You looking out for her well-being, she is looking out for your well-being, like if your lives depend on it. Now, if that is the situation, then if you find a wife or you find a husband, you find a good thing. Good. You understand what I'm saying? Now, and what would be in that situation, you find that person, you have to ask yourself, to make that relationship work, you must ask yourself, what is it you're prioritizing in that relationship? What is your priority there in that relationship? You understand? Most people, their priority is sex in a relationship. And you know and I know that if sex is your priority, you know you're going out of a relationship eventually and have sex. Because that is what you want straight through. And not every time somebody will be in a position to give you sex. So if your wife is sick and she is in the hospital and she cannot have sex with you, or she is sick, you know you're going outside. And then that is mash up. So you have to know what you're prioritizing. And if you're careful as to what your priorities, making a priority in your relationship, then what would happen is that everything that is important would be a priority to you. For example, when you love somebody in a relationship and the person loves you, the priority in that relationship is that person in every aspect of the game. She's supposed to be your priority. You supposed to be her priority. And let me just tell you this in case you don't know. Most people, when they start having children, the woman put the children as her priority. And with that, You get a change in the atmosphere in the house. Sometimes the men put a priority on the children before his wife. So it's either your wife comes second base now, or you come second base. That's not supposed to happen. You see, a man and a woman get in a relationship is a team. You understand? They are the captains of the team. They have to work together at all times. And if you decide to work together at all times, when kids come, both of you will be working together. The child could never be or should never be a priority over the parents, over any one of the parents, for that matter. It should not. So there you go, you have a team. That is why it is said that, it is written that when a man married to a wife and a wife married to a man, they're supposed to be of the same mind and the same body. They become one. And the reason why they become one is not because they turn a Siamese twin, but it's because their objective, their aims, their priorities, everything like that remains the same for all times. And anytime you put anything between that, you're just destroying your marriage or your relationship. And a lot of people don't realize that that is how serious this thing is. You understand? So when you become one, most definitely, it's not like a man become Yabers and stuff like that. Well, I mean, I wouldn't say that because you understand. But when you become one, you understand, you all have the same goal and objective in this life. You understand? And it can't be anything just physical. Because let me just tell you this. If you're working, you understand, or whatever you're doing, business or whatever it is, your wife should be prioritized over even that. The Most High is the supreme being, and after the Most High, it's your wife. After the Most High is your husband. You understand? You have to know that. Right? And if you have those kind of relationship, your relationship could never be destroyed. It's funny, I will say this, that it's true, a lot of people go and perform this ritual, what they call marriage, and they broke up. You understand? No. Do you actually think that most of these rituals are actual marriage? No, I don't think so. You see, because the same rituals are being performed in movies. The same rituals in movies. You understand? Most of the time, people get to marry to you. And when they marry to you, they marry to you for the wrong reason. You are not married to that person. Because marriage is when two people become one. And that is why it is written that when the Most High put them together, no man put asunder. Right? But how do the Most High put them together? When you have maybe somebody, a homosexual minister that doesn't have the Most High within him, pronouncing them man and wife. And they will go through life thinking that they are well married. All the time they are not. But how do you marry? You see, one of the lessons the Most High teaches us, you understand, is that where two or three are gathered in His name, He is in the midst to bless. Now, I am not saying, and get me clear, I'm not saying that you don't have to go through respect the law of the land. You have to. But what I do realize is that two people could go before the Most High And if you know the Most High, you know the Elohim that you worship, two people could go before the Most High and tell the Most High what their heart desire. And I am convinced that the Most High could bless that union. I am convinced about that. Honestly. And that is what you call having a personal relationship with the Most High. In relation to the law of the land, the Holy Scripture definitely say to respect the law of the land. So in order for the law of the land to recognize you as a married, not for the Most High to recognize, the Most High deal on a different level. For the people of the land to recognize that this is your wife, then you perform the act, the ritual that the system designate is a marriage ritual. You understand? To accommodate their law. You understand what I'm saying? So if you have the Most High within you, and the Most High designate you husband and wife, once that is the case, then it cannot be destroyed. And you know why it cannot be destroyed? Because there are a number of reasons why we will get married in this time. You see, once the Most High bless it, nobody could curse it. You understand? But let me take this thing a little further for you. It always takes somebody or bodies with conscious minds, somebody with a mature mind who know exactly what they want. You take these kind of people to find themselves in a relationship. People who know who they are. Because if you know who you are, what you would realize is that you would know exactly what is your purpose on the face of the earth. Okay, so let me explain that. The Holy Scripture tells you that we are born and shaped in iniquity, right? In sin did our mother conceive us. Right? So when we were born in sin. We inherited sin. We enter a world of sin. But do we have to stay wicked? No. You see, the object of our life is to strive towards perfection. Is to get ourselves from that sinful nature. So by the time we cross over the hill and we die basically righteous. You understand? We attain this level of righteousness and cleanness so that we could even live with the Most High in the thereafter or hereafter, how you call it. So how you're born, you definitely don't want to die so. But the beauty about it, when two people get together and they understand what is their purpose in this life, that is where two heads better than one. So two people become one. You understand? Both of them could help and complement each other. And when I say complement in this respect, I mean that they could assist each other and be there for each other. You understand? I'm not talking about congratulating anybody. Right? And if you have two people on this journey, it's much easier than just one person. Because with one person, sometimes you definitely could get a lot of distractions. But then within that relationship, when you're concentrated here, so when you look at this person, you see righteousness in the making. She look at you, she see righteousness in the making. And you all help each other. That is a bond that could never be broken. So it doesn't matter if you live for 100 years. Because at the end of the day, we know who is love. And we know what is love. And we know what love do. You understand? And we know that when you love that, you You are willing to even give your life for the person you love. That is real love. You understand? We knows that. We know that love is about the best thing that could happen to humanity. Because why? Because Elohim is love. And if you have Elohim in your heart, then you have everything you need. And then you could afford to die for a brother, die for a sister, die for your wife, die for anybody. Because when you have love in your heart now, you're seeing something way beyond just this normal physical life you see right now. But then if you have a wonderful partner, whether she is young, old, not so young, whatever, she's of age and you of age and your minds are mature, that is what the most I want to see in a relationship. So we have to know what we prioritize. And if you and somebody get together, what is the priority? What is the main priority in this relationship? That is what you have to know before you get in there. Would this relationship be a relationship of seeking the Most High? Would it be a relationship of trying to get wealthy or whatever it is? What you all will be prioritizing in this relationship? What is the main objective of this relationship? You understand? What is it? So then you have to know. You must know if you want this relationship to last. We all had relationship that didn't work. Most of us do. But most of us, we didn't have a clue how to build a relationship. And most of us, it's like when the relationship done, most of us wondering what caused the relationship to end, because we didn't even know. But most of us end up, we all broken hearted, we said. We all lose weight and stuff like that. Yes, that does happen. And the reason why it does happen is because of the lack of knowledge. So we does have to know. You know, it's not just seeing somebody with a big butt. You know, see somebody with a big butt and decide, well, you know what? I want to marry this woman, you know, she have a big butt. And then you get into the marriage and something happened, the butt gone down. Then you don't already marry the big butt, but you can't see the butt no more. Marriage end because that is your priority in the relationship. You understand? Or you see a woman with a nice breast and you like the breast because you want to lay your head up on the breast for the rest of your life. And then she have 2 children. And when she have the 2 children, the breast get flat. What you gonna do? Send her and do surgery to go and put some silicone so you'll have breasts? No, you wouldn't do that. You will go looking for another breast to put your head on, which is basically totally foolish. But most of you function like that. Another thing I observe is the immaturity of a lot of grown-ups. You understand? Most of you function like you are retarded, which I do believe it have a lot of retardation out here. So let me explain. Most of you celebrate Christmas. I don't, but I'm just going to make a reference to around Christmas time. You have a little child and he's a toddler. He's like 2 years old. And then you buy a toy for him. He play with the toy because it is new for the whole Christmas. And then as time goes on, what happens is that he just get disconnected from the toy because the toy is not as novel as how it used to be. So either he want a new toy or something like that, or he just get fed up with his toy because he's a child. That's how his mind works. That is how far his mind could go. You understand? And then what happens is that he threw the toy in the corner. So by the time January, he's tired with his toy because the novelty in the toy already left because he's just a child. And most of you adults function the same way too. So when you functioning like that, and I know his little children function like that, I know you're retarded. Because you will see a woman like this now for now, and she's worldly in your book. You looking at her, she's really beautiful and everything like that. And then you do what you do, you perform your witchcraft, because witchcraft I just call those things. And then you get her over onto your side, then you have sex with her a couple times, and then like a fool you left. Because you're looking for the next toy, like the little child. You're looking for a new child. You feel in your book the novelty left. But it never did. It's only you that left. Because the toy will be the same toy in the corner, no change. The woman will be the same woman, no change. You are the one who is changing. You are the one with the issue. So as a result of that, I will tell you this, that if you functioning like that, then you're retarded. You see, somewhere in your brain, something didn't develop. Which it's supposed to, but it did not. So you have some retardation problem. So there is a lot of people walking around, and they are retarded. Straight. They are retarded. I don't know why they are retarded, but they are retarded because they think a little less than kids. But then again, in case you don't know, when you have a relationship, you know there's always a hurdle you just cross. Not even one hurdle, there's a lot of hurdles. Because I will tell you this, and most of the time it is not hurdle of your partner's making. It is just life putting it at you. Because I'll tell you something. If you love somebody and the person loves you in the true sense of the word, honestly love you. You see, if you're just like a ordinary guy, nobody ain't bother with you. No Satan and trouble you because you like a Satan for yourself. But if you genuinely and honestly love somebody, you will get the fact. Because the way the world set up, anything that is real, get a fight. Anything. If you're fake, nobody ain't bother with you. You're just like, okay, you're just one of us. But once you're real, you will get the fight. So I will tell you this. You meet a man and you love him, whether he old, young, or whatever. You meet a woman and you love her, whether she old, young, whatever. And you all genuinely love each other, prepare for war. And the only thing that could make you survive is the love and the commitment you have for each other. That's the only thing, nothing else. Because if you have a strong love for each other, real serious love, that means you have the Most High within you. You understand? And once you have the Most High within you and within your relationship, the fight just has to get nice. So you just have to keep on strong and keep on loving each other. And that's the absolute truth. See, most people relationship just break up. Sometimes you really might feel that you love the person, and in your mind, you may be thinking genuinely that you really love the person. But then, the fight is on you, and if you're not aware of it, then that's the destruction of your relationship. That is why it is important to know. You see, it is always important to know. Because I'll tell you something. It is also written that when things happen, If you have a disagreement with your brother, mostly like your wife or your woman or whosoever, never go to bed without resolving your situation. Because when you go to bed with your situation in a mess like this and you're in hatred, you might get different dreams. And you'll get visions in your that will show you doubts in your even in your relationship. And then once a little doubt gets in there, then you start having problems. So it's always wise to work things out before you go to bed. And if you love somebody, you love them, and that is real. If they love you for real, that is it. It doesn't matter. You see? Whatever, if you decide to have kids, it's always a blessing. But if you want your relationship to last, you must put your partner first in everything. If you can't do that, if you don't do that, that means you are unequally yoked. Because I will tell you this. If you and your partner can't have one objective in life, be of the same mind and the same body, if you all can't have that, you all are unequally yoked. And that's the absolute truth. You have to have the mindset. Anywhere you're at and you're starting to think, the first thing you're supposed to be thinking about is your partner. How your partner is doing. You know, your partner's well-being is supposed to be your priority in everything. That's the absolute truth. Some people definitely wouldn't be able to handle it. I know that. But then if you could commit to this level of commitment, you're a boss. Let me tell you this. If, and in concluding this video, if you could love somebody, I'm saying it over and over, I always say that. I'm sure I said that in this video already. But if you could love somebody, you could love somebody in such a way that you will give your life for this person. And this person would love you the same way. That is a relationship you don't ever want to lose. Because with this kind of relationship, actually, it is like the plan of the Most High. That is how He wants to see us living. That is how it's supposed to be initially until things screw up. So if you find that kind of relationship, then you're on the way to righteousness. And though this might sound different to a lot of your ears, but it don't change the fact that it is the truth. You see, if you notice, we have serious issues, which we always talk about those things in videos. Today I'm just talking about relationship. And the kind of relationships I'm talking about here is a relationship of a man and a woman, a husband and a wife, or a boyfriend and a girlfriend. This kind of intimacy, this kind of relationship. That is exactly what I'm talking about. So I know definitely you don't have it twisted. Okay? So that is what we have to be doing. We have to be striving for that. And I will tell you this. If you can't have a relationship like that, it don't even make sense having a relationship. It's better you live by yourself. Better you stay alone. If you can't have a relationship where you could love somebody like this and somebody could love you like this, if you can't have this kind of relationship, then it don't make no sense having a relationship. And that's the absolute truth. When you look within yourself, you can't see any love, talk to the Most High about it. Maybe He desert you. Seriously. If you can't find love within you, something is definitely wrong. Okay? And that's how we're supposed to look at it. So anyway, you have a lovely evening or morning. If you look at this video, then good for you. So I'll most definitely see you in another video. So you have a lovely evening, as I said. And don't be afraid to let me know in the comment what you think about my video. I'll be very happy to hear a response. That is, if you look at my video at any time. So you take care. May the Spirit of the Most High Yahuwah bless you and keep you. I'll see you around.